it's very close to a certain unique thought too, you know, because when the culture is tied to a social a project of society, it's not so easy for every artist, you know, because every action you are doing is tied to this project. You are in or out. So it's not the case here. I think the the aperture here, is the opening is completely different, you know. See, in the same time, we are in a conservative society. At the same time, it's strange, it seems open. So there is a nice, interesting contradiction.
That sounds like you're describing Calgary right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a contradiction, but positive contradiction, because it works. Mm-hmm. And if it is the benefits for artists, go on. Why not? You know, because in the same time, I'm sure if people want culture, and I mean culture, active culture, not dead culture, not culture for consumer, but culture in action, sure, the culture will reveal a lot of interesting contradiction and controversies, and very positive to build a society. Because it's, to build a society, a city, it's not only material. You know, it's a question of spirit, it's a question of mind, it's a question of culture is that, you know. It is something plus, you know. And sure, culture is also the expression of irrational desire also of a society. But we need culture, because if not, you have to build jails or clinics for madness. You know?
We just have our art school for that.
Interesting point of view.
Who knows? Couldn't help it.
You are opening a controversy.
I know. I will hear. I'll get emails on that. At this point, maybe it would be good to have some audience questions that we can deal with collectively. So if we could bring the house lights up, perhaps, and there's a microphone in each aisle. Somewhere. One over there and one right over here, I think.
So nice to be together.
I don't see the other one. So we'd love to take questions from the audience for His Excellency or anyone up here.
No, for people here, for you.
Sure. Well, while we're waiting for someone to come up, talking about culture in Calgary, and that there is a kind of, there's a certain dynamic to the way we view culture in this city, I believe. On the one hand, it's a very progressive city, and we have a lot of great artists in all media creating cutting-edge work, and that tours around the world. But that is always seeming to be existing in direct tension, conflict with this, what seems like a prevalent notion that we're living somehow in a wonderland of heritage, right? Heritage is a big word. It gets used all the time here, and you'd think with what you look around and you know, heritage. It is either Heritage Park, or it is Heritage Hills, which is, you know, where they've actually changed the landscape with bulldozers and put up suburbs.
The future heritage.
Yeah, it's the heritage of the future, you know. And
Michael lives downtown and he never goes anywhere else, right?
so, you know, I think that's an interesting dynamic, and I don't know if all cities have that same dynamic so expressed in such a way that we do here. I think it's kind of an overriding tension that we have to deal with here. You may as well know that since you're visiting.
Well, part of the difficulty, I think, is we've gotten rid of a lot of our heritage. So the little bit we have left, we're just hanging on to it for dear life. Yeah.
But we do have the opportunity, and I mean, you were joking just then, or we were joking about that, but that is, to me, the opportunity right now is not to embrace the heritage of the past, but we are in a position of deciding now what is going to be the heritage for the future. It seems to me. So, we have a question.
Hi, comment, question kind of thing. Michael Green. I'm born and raised Calgarian. First Yellow Rabbit production I saw was Batman on a Dime. Do you remember that one?
You're aging both of us.
Yes. Your comment, slight critique of Calgary as a characteristic would be that we act before we think. I agree. And your comment on One Yellow Rabbit as a sort of characteristic is that you stir first, think about the consequences later.
Now,
so,
some of the rabbits might dispute that, but that's okay.
Okay, but as a guiding philosophy, it's never, nice too.
Yeah, okay.
So effectively, they're the same. You're intrinsically bound. So I see One Yellow Rabbit being as inherently part of Calgary because you are the same sort of thing. Act first, stir first, think later. So that was a comment, not so much a question. But what you were saying about heritage and culture, as we gain more heritage, we gain more culture, where's the starting line? Where do you define now we have culture? I would say for me, my experience of culture was the first time I saw One Yellow Rabbit production. But maybe it always exists just to the extent of how many people participate in it.
Well, my response to that, and thank you very much. You said your name, but it's. Oh, you didn't. Oh, right. Well, you know me. Anyway, I don't know if there's a starting line. It seems to me that it's always a process, but I was in a kind of a roundtable discussion, workshopping session once at the Glenbow Museum, and over there's an institution that is actually having to juggle these concepts of, are we a repository of the Calgary heritage, or are we trying to be a center for contemporary art? I mean, both of these things, and etc. And it seems to me that it's not a matter of where the starting line is, so much as if we're moving forward, then let's just say we're in a vehicle moving along the road of life and the future and everything. And heritage, I think, should be the rear view mirror in your windshield so that you can see where you're coming from and you can appreciate it. But if you make that rear view mirror too large, then, it's kind of a self-defeating exercise. You're constantly looking at where you've just been, and that you can't really see where you're going. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
Mais je vais parler en français. Il y a un lien très important, très nécessaire entre ce qu'on appelle le patrimoine, heritage, and culture. It's a necessary tie between the two. I remember, comme immigrant moi-même, je suis arrivé au Canada il y a 30 ans, 32 ans. Avant de prendre la parole, avant de faire un film, ça m'a pris énormément de temps pour parcourir l'histoire, le patrimoine, à rencontrer les gens, à refaire l'histoire à l'envers pour arriver à être au présent de ce pays-là.
There is a very important and necessary link between heritage and culture. I know, for example, arriving as an immigrant some 32 years ago, before I was able to speak, before I was able to make films, I had to spend a long time looking at studying the history, looking at the heritage, speaking to people in order to build up what I would need to go forward.